If a store wants to sell more of something, there are many things it can do. Signs could be placed around the store to advertise a specific aisle, and ads could attract people with coupons. But small, imperceptible changes can work just as well, and at a fraction of the cost. It's a concept called nudging that more and more companies are hiring psychologists to study and use. Instead of advertising directly, they might paint the toothpaste aisle with a reflective coating. To you and I, this would seem like a meaningless design decision, but as customers walk by, they see themselves, including their teeth, reflected in the mirrored shelves. A few steps later, they're more likely to put some whitening toothpaste in their cart. If asked why they bought it, people might make up a reason, or maybe admit that they didn't like the look of their teeth, but they wouldn't suspect that the store planned it. Nudging can come in a million different tiny forms. One section of a grocery store might be better lit, making you move in its direction. Or more profitable items might be placed on shelves at eye level, making them easier to see. But they can also be the heart of a business. Costco is designed more like a warehouse than a store. It's designed specifically not to be convenient, because while you're running around trying to find something, you'll spot some other things to buy as well. Gyms push hard for memberships, but then nudge you away. The more equipment is used, the more often it needs fixed or replaced, and the less money they make. Gyms aren't designed for your comfort, it's just the opposite. The ideal customer feels guilty enough to keep paying for his membership, but uncomfortable enough to avoid going. Now, if you believe that our brains will eventually be fully understood by scientists, then there are no limits to how much people could be nudged. Companies will have a blueprint to your brain, with a recipe that will guarantee your purchase of anything. But even if not, our brains can still be influenced. Assume that companies will keep wanting money, and psychologists will continue better understanding the brain, and at some point nudging will become not just suggestion, but active manipulation. Amazon won't just predict what's on your shopping list, they'll actually create it. So where should we draw the line between nudging as just another marketing strategy and unjust coercion? Many people would draw the line at deception. Companies can push you to buy more bananas, but if they're honest about their methods, it isn't so bad. A store might place a sign at the entrance that says, "We use psychological research to help you buy the best products." A very corporate statement, but a fair warning that people can recognize. But being told the flaws of your brain is not enough to prevent them. I can tell you that all of these dots are white, and you can really believe me, but that won't stop your brain from seeing otherwise. So why should simply telling someone make it acceptable, when the manipulation still works? Unless the brain can be and is completely understood, companies will have to estimate the effectiveness of their nudges just like any advertising campaign. They won't know exactly on who or how well a nudge will work, only an overall success rate. It's hard to say what exact percentage is too high, that would always seem arbitrary. But some would say as long as there's some amount of choice involved, then it's more marketing than manipulation. But this too is arbitrary. Sure, a store doesn't know if you will buy something, but some number of people will. For them, the nudge was responsible for the purchase, not their free choice. The simple answer is that it all depends on what people are being nudged towards. If people are pushed to buy healthy and helpful products, it's okay. But if it's used to harm them, then it's not. But this too has flaws. Stores can't be trusted to make this judgment themselves, so governments have to decide what moral and immoral purchases look like. And even if we could make that distinction, we would still lack any sense of freedom. It's the same reason we don't outlaw everything unhealthy. We value choice, whether we consider something good or not. The interesting thing is that a lot of these points also apply to advertising generally. It too manipulates our brains against our will. So is advertising just as bad, or is nudging more deceptive? Either way, there's no way to avoid these questions, because there's really no way to stop nudging. A store has to be designed some way, so companies have no choice but to nudge in some direction, even unintentionally. So what do you think? What's the difference between a good and a bad nudge? Is there one at all? If you're like me, the news is so frustrating, you've kind of just stopped paying attention. I could make a whole video on everything wrong with news sites. Ads cover 90% of your screen, but they make you disable ad block, there's so much bias, and they put the good articles behind a paywall. But there's a way to get the news without all of that. Compass News is a news website that's actually worth reading. You get articles from sites like the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, Wired, and The Economist, but without the ads, without the paywall, and completely free. They write summaries, so you can quickly get just the most important information. Even if you only have a few moments, you can just glance at their iOS or Android app. They also understand that no source can be 100% neutral, so they present different viewpoints in one place. It's really the opposite of clickbait. The goal is to actually make you like the site so you'll come back, not show you whatever it takes to generate ad revenue. Imagine that. Compass News is VC backed, meaning they're getting funding to build the business, so you might as well take advantage by using the service for free. Sign up at compassnews.co.uk/polymatter, POLYMATTER, and that'll help me by showing that I sent you. It only takes a few seconds to sign up, and if you don't like it, you can just leave. Thanks to Compass News for sponsoring this video.